Welcome to the Authority Journey podcast with Catherine Aragon, award-winning marketer, strategist, 8-times author, coach, and founder of KA Media. Catherine takes you on the journey of moving from being an expert to becoming a legacy leader in your field. Join us each week as she explores the authority journey and what it takes to influence, lead, and succeed.
Welcome to the Authority Journey podcast. Achieving your most audacious goals doesn't happen by accident. Explore the authority journey and what it takes to influence, lead, and succeed. My name is Catherine Aragon, and I am your host for today's episode, You Be You. Interestingly, you be you, that sounds like such an easy task. I mean, you've lived however many years with yourself, and you have stepped into some level of authority or expertise on the things you do. You know things, you do things every day. So why is it so hard when somebody says, "Who are you? What do you like?" Why do we stumble sometimes? Is the question too open-ended? Or is there some element of us being uncomfortable with who we are, maybe not even realizing who we are? I'm reminded of, back in the day, it was always this 50-something-year-old man who needed to go find himself. And that's when he would leave his family and go buy a sports car and go whatever. Go on a trip or have an affair or whatever. And he was trying to find himself because somewhere along his journey, he lost himself. Or that feeling of who am I anymore? After all these years of doing all this stuff, I'm still not sure I know who I am. I see the same thing now with 40-something women. They're basically realizing I played by the rules, I did everything I was supposed to do, and what have I got to show for it? That's what we're talking about. That moment when you realize, I don't really know who I am. What is this all about? I'll tell you, 2 years ago, I was at an event and a woman came on stage. I'd never seen her before, and she was so herself. I don't believe I've ever seen anybody who was just so uniquely herself. She had black spangled pants on, star earrings, boots that had stars on them, and she was the most vivacious personality. She just exuded positive energy. I loved watching her speak. And she got to this moment in her presentation where she said, "Now, you don't have to be like me. You just need to be you, only better." And I stopped. It absolutely stopped me in my tracks for her to say that. Because here I am taking notes. I'm ready to do whatever she's been doing. And I realized, well, that's a stopper. Because who am I? Having it put to me in a way where I'm required to define who I am. I may be comfortable going through my day. I may unconsciously be myself. But to consciously define what that is and what that looks like, I couldn't do it. At that moment, I made it my mission to figure out, okay, let's solve this puzzle. Who am I and what am I about? And I still don't know that I'm 100% there, but I do feel like I'm a little bit more comfortable with, what is her name? Sally Hogshead does the Fascinate quiz. And I love hers because it's not just like the DISC system or the INTJ, whatever that one is. It's all about how do other people perceive you. And I really like that one because it's less about who you are and more how you come off with other people. So I highly recommend that one. But that gave me a couple of words that I could put on myself to help me begin defining myself. And from that moment, I could just add little elements. As I notice something about someone else that kind of resonates with me, I realize, maybe that's part of who I am. But what stops me is, why was that so hard? I've talked with other young people straight out of college, and they say the same thing. Someone says, well, just be yourself. And they, full stop, struggle with, but I don't know what that means. What does that how do I define even what that is? And I started wondering, why is it that we have so much trouble with that? I have a theory. You want to hear it? It goes back to our earliest days. From the moment we are born, we come into this family, and we are 100% unconsciously ourselves when we start out. We misbehave, not consciously, not trying to misbehave. We just do something that isn't approved of, that wasn't the expectation. And what are we told? No, that's wrong. Some of us, sadly, are told, you are wrong. There's something wrong with you. That's terrible. But see, all those messages, all that negativity about the things that come naturally to us are not acceptable. We begin to try to change who we are. And I think after so many decades of doing that, of trying to fit in, of trying to get to a point where our friends don't think we're weird, where our parents don't think we're bad, where our brother and sister don't run away from us, or whatever our personal hang-up or challenge is, we lose track of who we are. So after so many years of being an adult, I myself may say, well, I've just been doing what I'm supposed to do. I don't even know if the things I do are because they're me, or if they're what I'm supposed to do, what my expectations, the expectations of me, I should say. Someone straight out of school is the same situation. They've been following the rules all this time, being told you're allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do that. They haven't even started on their life, and they don't know who they are, because they've never been allowed to step into the fullness of what that looks like. We experiment with our skills. We experiment with our activities, but we're not really allowed to experiment with who we are, unless we're that rebellious kid who just acts out anyway because he's just tired of being told who he can and can't be. But I'll tell you the truth, that kid is a step ahead of the rest of us who have been trying so hard to fit in, or have been trying so hard to look like everybody else. Now here's the thing. Let's tie this back to your authority journey. The goal of the authority journey is to set a distant goal. I want to achieve that thing. That's what I want to be when I grow up, essentially. And so we chart a path. We set a course for ourselves, and we go through the steps to get there. But here's the deal. There's this element of X factor that is going to follow you everywhere you go. And that X factor, that little bit, the piece that is an unknown, is who you are. So when somebody on stage says, just be yourself, that's all you need to do. Be full out, unstoppable you. And you don't know what that is, that's going to hold you back. You cannot step into your full authority until you answer this question. So it is an important question. It's not this random fly-by challenge or puzzle. You really do need to figure it out, because how are you going to define your goal if you can't even define yourself? How can you know that you, the authentic you, will fit into that distant picture of what you want to achieve if you don't know who you are fully? So this is a puzzle we need to figure out. We need to understand that it's okay to be different. So I guess we need to start with permission. I give you permission to be your authentic self, but you need to give yourself permission, because it's going to disrupt your life just a little bit. I can promise you this. If you have been fitting in to your social group, and all of a sudden you start experimenting with, wait a minute, I think this is the real me, you're going to make waves in that group. You're not going to fit in the same way, and it will disrupt the status quo. The number one thing we as humans hate is for status quo to be disrupted. So that's not going to feel comfortable, perhaps. You may feel resistance from people in your family, from your friends, from work. But you know what? You must step into your authentic self. You cannot hide who you are. You can't. The honest truth, it shows through anyway. So all these years you've been trying to fit in, all these years you've been trying to look like everybody else around you, you probably have not succeeded. And that's why the random negative comments, why do you have to be like that? Why can't you be more like this? That's unprofessional. That's not the right way to do things. Guess what? They're wrong. If you are being your authentic self, you get to choose that. And yes, there is a professional way to be you. There is a polished way to be you. There is a way to be you and just a little bit better, like the best version of you. But you have to start with who you are. And that's the truth. So how do you get there? That is the challenge, right? You can't be yourself accidentally. You have to really work to take off all those layers of shaping and molding that have gone on so you can find your authentic self and honestly step into it. But I promise you, once you do that, you will be able to see more clearly what it is you're trying to achieve in life and how to get there. Because a whole lot of what holds me back personally is those little things that I haven't figured out yet. And a big one was who I am. Once you begin to figure that out, you will realize, why do I always struggle with this element of my job? Why do I always struggle with this thing that I know I need to do to move ahead, but I don't want to do it? Well, it's probably not resonating with the real you. There is a piece of you that's uncomfortable with that activity, or putting yourself out there, or talking to strangers, or asking for directions. I'm thinking about all the different things we struggled with as kids in my house, in the house I grew up in. And those are the things that if we don't resolve those childhood anxieties, if we don't get comfortable with the fact that, maybe I am good at asking for directions, I just wasn't doing it the way someone else thought I should do it. Maybe I am good at doing this, that, or the other thing, I just don't do it the way everyone else thought it should be done. That's an issue. And you can honestly step out of your comfort zone and go try to do this thing the way you would do it, the way that's natural to you, and you may even discover you're very, very good at it. Wouldn't that be wonderful? So that's the goal. We have to figure out who you are so you can be that authentically, like unconsciously being yourself. So I'm going to be a little contrarian here. I don't want you to think of this as a selfish, I'm not asking you to become a selfish, self-absorbed person, but you cannot know yourself if you don't spend time with yourself. I want you to start focusing on yourself a little bit more. Here's the next step. I want you to get to know yourself, and I want you to get to like yourself. I have run into so many people, it's almost a sickness. People don't like themselves. And you know why that is? I believe it's the same problem. Somehow or other, what feels natural to you has been judged and condemned and made fun of to the point that you think there's something wrong with you. Even if you aren't consciously thinking, there's something wrong with me, there is a child, the inner child, who is still in there, so hurt from the fact that they got made fun of on the playground. That child, that inner child, doesn't like you very much. And that comes out and it hinders us. So we have to take the time to get to know ourselves. Kind of like, starting over with yourself, getting to know yourself, and actually discovering the wonderful things about yourself that are worth sharing with the world. So let's start. I've got 4 things that you can do, that you need to ask yourself, that you need to answer to begin to get to know yourself. The first question that you need to answer is 2 questions really. What do you like and what do you dislike? Believe it or not, this is a hard one because we think there's a right answer and a wrong answer, but there isn't. I don't care what the people around you like or dislike. It doesn't matter what you've been doing all these years. It doesn't matter who you hang out with. Forget all of that. You may not even like all those things that you've been doing all these years. What do you like? What makes you happy? Is it boring? That's okay. Is it crazy? That's okay too, as long as it's legal. What are the same things that you dislike, the things that you do, but you don't really love them? Now, second question, what are you good at and what are you bad at? This is also important because, again, there's so many times we have learned to be good at things, and, maybe we're just as good as we're going to get. We're not great at them, but they're just the thing that we have to do, and we think of ourselves as being good at it. But maybe there's this other thing that's so impractical. It's all, we treat it as a hobby, but it's our passion. It's the thing that just energizes us and makes us so happy to do because it comes so easily. It's effortless. What are the things that put you in the zone and just you forget the world around you when you're doing them? Those are the things you're really good at. Then what are the things that you're just, you really struggle to get them done? Maybe you do get them done, or maybe you just avoid them at all costs. What are you bad at? These are things that are going to help you figure out where you're pretending and where you're just doing what you have to do, or where you are actually stepping into yourself, your awesome muchness. Number 3, what makes you truly remarkable? This is important because the things that are most remarkable about us are the things that we take for granted. Other people can see those things better than you can because we think that being remarkable must be hard. It's so out there. And largely it's because we don't see ourselves as remarkable. But truly, there are things that you do that nobody else can do. There are things that you do that amaze the people around you. They just kind of step back and let you do that. My husband can do arithmetic in his head. I was actually better in math. I got higher grades and I went further in math. But I can't do arithmetic in my head to save my soul. I would get out a pen and a piece of paper to add it up. So when he's around, I just say, hey, what's this? And he gives me the answer and we're good. It saves me time. He's my calculator. That's amazing. To him, it's just, that's just what I do. What's the thing that makes you amazing? What's the thing that people defer to you for because they know you do it better than them? And I'm going to give you a little hint. It might be the thing that kind of irritates other people because they can't believe you're so good at it. So don't shy away from that thing because it's actually what makes you remarkable. The 4th thing, what's weird about you that you love? Do you love singing in the rain? Or, what is the thing that you do that is nobody else does it because it's weird? But that's okay. That's what we're actually looking for. The woman who stood on the stage in her spangled pants and her star earrings, man, she felt awesome in that outfit because she is a star. And she was just personifying herself. We need to do that. We need to step into the thing that makes us unique, that makes us different or weird. Because you know what? We're spending so much energy trying to be like everybody else. And we can't move ahead if we are a generic copy of everybody else. If the choice for that promotion or the choice for the vendor to perform this service is just a bland, generic choice, someone can close their eyes and just eeny, meeny, miny, moe and pick somebody. You need to stand out, and the only way to do that is to show off your differences. Don't try to blend in. Try to stand out. Can we agree to be ourselves? We need to know what we like and dislike. We need to know what we're good at and bad at. We need to know what makes us truly remarkable. And we need to fall in love with the things that make us weird. Can we please do that? Differences are the spice of life. Being the same? No. That's going to lead to a boring, unfulfilling life. If you want to achieve the biggest, most audacious goals that you have for yourself, you're going to have to step into your uniqueness. You're going to need to spend some time with yourself thinking about, who am I? Who am I to do this amazing thing? But it's not, who am I to do this thing? No, it's who am I that I am going to do this amazing thing? What makes me so unique that I'm the only person that can do this amazing thing? You truly are amazing. You really are one of a kind. Show that off. Don't settle for sameness. Be seen for who you really are. That's my challenge to you today. Please subscribe to the Authority Journey podcast so you hear every wonderful episode. And be sure to go to CatherineAragon.com and subscribe there as well so you get updated on all the amazing things I'm doing. So, be yourself. Go forth and be amazing. See you next week.